Wow. We started a minute early just so Fat Kitty wouldn't freak out. We got to make sure we get him on stream with his little costume.
Oh, he's so bad.
No.
Oh, you're so mean.
Get it off. Yeah.
Everybody thinks you look handsome.
Fat Kitty's in the Christmas spirit. Yeah, totally. Look how happy he looks.
It barely buckles around his fat belly.
Is he walking around the house or is he like...
He's kind of just like... He just doesn't know what to do. Oh, Strudel in his elf costume. So Strudel got taken in by a family on the street. So Strudel has a home, but Schnitzel... Drama. So Schnitzel and I are friends again, but he's scared of Fat Kitty. Are you ready to say Merry Christmas? Are you ready to say
No.
Merry Christmas?
And he's ready to say, fuck you all.
All right, I'm going to take this off. It was so bad. Do not ruin my sweater. Okay, let's get this off here.
As mad as he is, he doesn't seem to be very violent.
He's not. I mean, at the vet, he's so well behaved. But he might take out my sweater.
Yeah. So he's just all talk. Because like that, the way the cat's body language, I would not want to mess with him, but he doesn't seem like he's actually going for your face. Like he looks like he wants to, but he just doesn't do it.
He doesn't.
Violence will expend too much energy.
Yeah. No. Oh, he's so mad. He's going back over to the couch to sleep. It was so difficult.
Poor kitty. That's gonna be festive for 5 minutes.
Difficult times. I mean, best purchase ever. Well, happy holidays, everyone.
Indeed.
We're a couple minutes early, but
so Mridul is was supposed to join us. He is certainly welcome to join us if he is wakes up, but today was his last final. He has been sick for months, probably had to miss a lot of class, probably stressed out, had finals last week, had weekend finals, had a final today. This was supposed to be his last day, his last Wet Your Plant stream until the next semester, but he might have fallen asleep, and I think that's fair.
He needs some rest, and we want Myrtle to get rest because he is tired. So.
Yeah.
So we're not going to do the topic because that's Myrtle's topic.
People are going to click on that link, on that thumbnail, and just be so pissed that we don't talk about it.
I know. I mean, I guess if people want to ask a question about bringing back plants from the brink, they can. But
yeah, if y'all have any specific plants that are suffering, but maybe next time we'll actually, I don't know, have pictures of plants that are recovering or something like that.
Right. I don't know. It's Myrtle's topic.
Yeah.
Well.
But I mean, Kelly, I know your protocol when plants are dying, you're just like, bye plant.
Throw them out. Get new ones. Yeah. I mean, there is really... I mean, I guess it's possible for a plant to be so rare that I would try to rehabilitate it.
Like you had some marble Anubias or something.
I don't think I would buy marble Anubias, but yeah, I guess
I don't go either, but
I would try.
Yeah, how do you revive duckweed? Just get some more duckweed.
Don't let your goldfish eat all of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Someone has the bipolar fish keeper has a Socarno sword on death's door. How's that possible?
They can grow super fast in good substrate and CO2, but I put one of them in Jenna's tank, her tank with the ghost knife when we first set it up. And it has about, I don't know, half an inch of stratum and 3 inches of sand. And it's been in there a year and a half. And it's, I don't know, 6, 7 inches tall. Like it's just super slow. It's not dying. It's going in the positive direction. It's just, there's not a whole lot there for it
Yeah.
to eat.
I mean,
So
I guess it's possible. So Zenny says she has one in a 20 long. She forgets to turn the light on. No CO2 and it's still growing. They are
yeah,
they're an easier plant. But you know what? Sometimes an easy plant is unexpectedly hard.
could it be? I mean, it could be something very random, like it's missing completely, like completely missing one nutrient.
Or
Like
it
check
could be like the crown got damaged.
could be, yeah, buried too far down. It's
Could
the
have gotten
roots
into
are.
disease, I guess. I mean,
I guess roots can go anoxic and die, right? Like just
I
kind of rot
guess.
away. They go too deep.
I don't know. Things can happen. Things can happen.
Shit happens.
Zenny says she throws in a root tab once in a while. I mean, that's nice of you. I recently just root tabbed up my whole aquarium. I'm like, I haven't put root tabs in a full year. And so yeah.
So, Shady Grady asked, "What causes blackbeard algae to turn red? Hopefully, it's dying off."
Oh,
I
yeah,
wish I
that's
knew
a
what
good
I did.
sign. Yeah,
Red
that's a good
usually means
sign.
dying. Yeah.
Yeah, it usually kind of turns like a purpley pink color, and
Hmm.
then your fish will start picking at it, and then it that means it's going away. So that's a great sign.
Yeah. Now I've never had that just happen to me without me doing something specific, like fogging it with peroxide or Excel or something like that.
I
It doesn't
have.
just die on me.
I have, and I don't know why. It just
Hmm.
decided to go away. And in my experience, algae do sometimes just come and go. I have some algae popping up right now in this tank, and I don't know why. Well, probably because the filter's filthy.
I would say that applies to
But
every algae except for hair algae. Hair algae, it's for life unless you like you starve it of like all light and nutrients, and then it just
in this tank, hair algae has come and gone, and I
I have
don't
to
have.
remove it.
I don't really. I mean, cleaning the filter always helps.
Speaking of which, I did my annual FX6 cleaning this weekend.
I
It
do
was
mine
disgusting.
twice a year. I still haven't done it yet. Hopefully after Christmas. We're having a really weirdly mild winter. I mean, we're
Hmm.
having days on and off in the 50s because I like to take it outside to hose it off. So hopefully right after Christmas we'll do it. I need help to do it. I can't lift it. And yeah, but I haven't done it since the spring. I do it twice a year. It needs it.
Yeah, mine, like I forgot what color some of the sponges were. Like I had some green sponges in there, but everything was just coated with filter gravy and yeah. But I I go outside and I spray everything down with the garden hose.
Yeah, that's what I do too. I use the garden hose. And I mean, during the spring, I'll take the filter grossness and I will pour it into my plants, my potted plants outside.
The way my driveway is sloped, most of the filter gravy went into the neighbor's side of the property. That's all right. They everything died this summer outside because of the drought.
So
So
dry, which is so unlike you guys.
it is, yeah, wildfires,
You
like
live
it's
in the
crazy.
swamp.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, drought would be really weird here too. It's not to say it never happens, but we don't live in a dry climate. Carl says you don't know how privileged you are to have a garden hose. Yeah. Apartment
I
living with
didn't
aquariums
even
is
think about that.
harder.
Yeah, I mean, we've lived in a house since 2008, and I don't go outside much, but there are certain outside amenities like the garden hose, just being able to spray off my car or like
Yeah.
spray down, keep an outdoor pond. having a backyard, not living in an HOA neighborhood, so not being told that something isn't like X inches from the
Yeah.
curb or some shit like that, or we left our trash can out too long. Like I definitely take those freedoms for granted sometimes.
Yeah. I don't have a garage, which most Midwesterners do who own homes. I don't have a garage. But other than that, you don't have a garage either. You have a
We have
carport.
a carport, yeah.
Yeah.
I was seeing Rico try to send a super chat, but it didn't come through. But apparently he got charged for it. Hopefully YouTube fixes that.
That's
But
really
thank you.
weird. Thank you, Rico.
Anyway, so Luke was saying uh, his 50 is currently insane 0 par below the solid mat of plants on the surface, thinking I lost more than a few things in the last few weeks.
Time to trim, Luke.
That happened in the plant farm just the other day. I was actually losing things like some of the polysperma just because it got so thick, and there was like basically no leaves below, like I don't know, a good 6-8 inches, and all those stems got super brittle and snapped off. I just threw all that crap away because I have
Yeah,
polysperma
yeah.
in other tanks.
There
But
is no need to like rehab your polysperma.
no, but I did get concerned because there are things in there that are short and would most definitely get snuffed out. Like
And there are things you care about. Yeah,
I wouldn't want to lose the aerial column, for
right.
instance. Like I have a
Yeah,
lot of things in the plant farm that I don't have anywhere else right now.
yeah. And this 90 got super out of control too. But it looks, oh, man, it looks really good right now. I mean, that's an improvement.
Very much an improvement. I'm sure the rainbow fish are super happy.
So happy, so happy. I mean, it has some algae popping up. It has some green spot that the Cleathon snails can't keep up with. It has like some staghorn, but just up by the filter outflow. So
Hmm.
that's kind of weird. But I just really need to clean this filter. I really, really need to clean it. It's so bad.
I was saying that about my FX6 back in like July, and then it got later in the year, and then actually, I literally on the anniversary of cleaning it last year is whenever I cleaned it
Ugh.
this weekend. So how long will Rachel have to keep those little picture frame glass panes down?
For on Monte Carlo, I didn't see the question, but I'm assuming it's
Tissue
Monte
culture.
Carlo or
It's on the
something.
screen. Tissue
Okay.
cultures. I don't know if it's Monte
Oh,
Carlo in
yeah, it
particular, but
depends what it is, but if it's Monte Carlo, I would leave it for like 3 or 4 weeks. Leave it longer than you think you will, because otherwise, if you get curious and you lift it up and it's not soon enough, you'll undo your work.
and if you have corridors, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely
and
leave it
Corey's
down.
also, yeah, which probably you do, or something else that likes to dig. Yeah, I would say 3 or 4 weeks. But it does work. It does work.
Hmm.
Now Monte Carlo does need some GH to your water. I can't remember what your water is like, Rachel, but if you are one of those people who has like super, super, super low KH water, low GH
Does
water,
that
right?
apply to everybody in the PNW that they have like super soft water, or is it just certain cities?
I think most everybody, but I don't know it for sure if everybody, but I know a lot of people do. In which case, that plant is a little fussier. Um, However, every other plant for you is easy, so there you go. I mean, fuck you all.
Yeah, really.
And your
And Dee
great
Dee getting
water out of the
another
tap.
Dee Dee getting another pink flamingo.
It's
I
easy to get
might
caught
try
up
it.
in the season, DD.
I might try it again.
Yeah, I don't know. There's other plants. I've kind of moved on.
Yeah, for some reason Matt knew the moment I was cleaning the FX6. He messaged asking if I was cleaning it, and then I was like, I would, and I was like in view of my Ring camera, and so I'm like looking at my camera, like, did you find a way in? Because
Is that the
if
newest?
you did, you've seen some shit.
Is that the newest Fishfam.link functionality, ring
Yeah,
cameras
instead of
in
like
every
just seeing
phone.
where they last chatted, it's literally where they were last seen.
Tracking how many calories we've had a day, how many bowel movements. I mean, Jesus Christ. So Rachel says Marcelea and something else from Geek Shopping Trip for FFL. I would say
Oh,
Marcelea stays rooted pretty easily on its own. You could
depending on what
probably,
you've got down there. I
yeah,
had Corey root it too.
I don't know. I have Corey's.
Do you have? I have the chunkers, the big Aeneas, like the bronze ones. They're
Yeah,
like
I have
years old.
Equus. I have Equus. I don't know. I would say like 3 weeks. You could probably pick it up. I can't
Let's
remember
see.
what Geek Boy bought on that shopping trip, but it was all things you didn't need CO2 for, and there was no Monte Carlo. He wouldn't have bought Monte Carlo. That would have been weird. Um, yeah, 3 weeks. I don't know. I don't. Monte Carlo just seems to root. Why do you use CO2? So, but you have really low pH water. Let's just say 3 weeks.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, 3 weeks. Lift it up, check it, see how. Kind of like give it just the little gentle tug, I
Yeah.
guess.
It'll produce runners, and it may, like, if it's going, it'll run right underneath the glass picture frame. It won't stop it. All right, J Rock Does Stuff says, I want to stack my 40 breeders 3 high on a metal shelf. Anyone that does this, tips or advice? I
I
guess
have it too high.
I don't recommend that because, man, those lower tanks, like, you think that's a good idea, but, like,
L
is it?
So, yes, the lower tanks, they're definitely not my display tanks for sure. Um, so in my fish room, I have the husky racks, the ones that are meant to hold, I don't know, 2,000 pounds a shelf or something like that. The plant farm is on one, and then right above that is that fancy rimless fluval aquascaping contest tank with
Yeah.
the puffer and all that in
And
it.
you're really tall, so that doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm not worried about, like, I do have to go on the step ladder if I want to actually do some real
Right.
trimming, and I need to take an updated video because this is
Jenna
that's
needs
the
a step
tank
ladder just to look at it.
behind me. It is becoming a little unruly. Like I'm gonna have to do some legitimate decision making with crypts, and I'll probably have to actually just remove quite a few of them to make it a little less insane in there. But yeah, I'm not. I don't know if I should be worried about it. I'm not worried about it. It doesn't seem like it's unstable. It doesn't seem to be like wobbly or anything like that. I trust that they really do hold 2,000 pounds like they say they do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not worried that it'll hold. It's
You're
just that
talking just
every single person I've ever known who, when they do like version 2.0 of their fish room, they're like, no more low level racks. Every single one. I don't know anyone who's redone a fish room
is it
who
because they don't
has,
want to get down on the floor and maintenance them or what?
well, maintenance, and you don't really enjoy your lowest tanks.
No, those are definitely utility tanks.
Yeah,
They're breeding tanks
they're
or
not. I mean,
quarantine
and
and stuff like
it's,
that.
it's a lot of time crouching down low, and I
Oh,
don't
I
know.
don't crouch. I just plop my ass on the floor when I'm going to mess with those tanks.
But I would just think about that because,
Hmm.
I mean, I'm not that sort of fish keeper, right? So that's not a thing I would do anyways. But I just know that everyone who has ever done a fish room, when they do it the second time around, they don't do any lower takes. And for between those two levels, they offer plenty of clearance so they can get their head and their full arm in there and reach back
Now, I will say
without,
yes,
yeah.
yes to that. There's one tank where I screwed up, and I'm like, surely my arm is skinny, and I don't
But
know
I
what I
feel
was
you want to be
thinking.
able to get your head back there too.
Oh, I definitely
So
can't get my head back there. I
yeah.
and there's a AquaClear 110 on the back of that thing, and I have not. I haven't messed with that filter in quite a while. So another chat. So Rico sent me a super chat saying it refunded it. A super chat storm would be awesome. Thank you,
Oh,
Rico.
well, thank you. Well, there you go. There's advice from a man who's done it a few times around. Bob,
No, no, no low level tanks.
yeah. And he's not the only one I've heard that from.
Yeah.
So, however, Luke Wong says, I don't mind my low tanks. Just make sure you give them enough clearance off the floor that you can siphon them all the way down to the bottom if you need to.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's another concern. I mean, I wouldn't do it, but I mean, even if I put in I wanted to start breeding and have breeding racks, I wouldn't do it. Just because everybody who does version 2 of their fish room doesn't do it. There must be some
Yeah.
reason.
I'm okay with getting down on the floor. I just definitely got to have clearance, and I wouldn't have like a fancy aquascape. But my floor
Yeah.
tanks are sand and corridoras, and right now
Yeah.
an angelfish in there until I move it to Jenna's tank. But nothing. Yeah, and the sand has val growing in it, so like there's not a lot of work that I need to do to those tanks on a regular basis. So immersed setups, have we done an
Yeah.
immersed? I
Yeah,
think
I
we
mean,
have.
we've done things on my hydroponic walls. We've done things on
Mhm.
growing things out of your top of your tanks. We've done things on propagating plants immersed. So yeah, we've done a few things. We could do a few more, I guess.
If you have
I'm not
specific
really
questions, Scotty.
I'm not really interested in propagating aquarium plants immersed. I just don't think they look good that way. And there are just so many better looking plants to grow if you're going to grow things that way anyways.
Hmm.
I mean, you can grow things that flower.
I
You can
really
grow
would
things
like a
that have
hydroponic
beautiful flowers.
wall like that, but since you told me the whole thing had to be like DIY'd anyway, I
Yeah.
don't know what
I
to
mean,
buy.
I wish I could recommend this hydroponic wall, which it is doing really, really well. I'll show you guys.
I mean, the
So
containers themselves were fine. You just had to replace the pump completely, right?
the pump,
And
the
the light.
light, and it was kind of a pain in the butt to do. I
So you end
mean,
up paying way too much for just some containers that you had to supplement with better
yeah,
equipment.
I mean, if the pump and the guts that had been with it had worked out well, I think it would have been a good deal. Also, I don't even know if you can find it anymore, but
Hmm.
I don't recommend it. It's the Aqua L hydroponic wall. I mean, I can't now though that I did all that DIY and got it working. It's 100% maintenance free.
Nice.
I just make sure the pump doesn't clog. Barely I make sure that happens. I mean, there's really nothing to do there. I have trimmed one plant once. I mean, it's just really no work and it looks really cool.
Birthday girl is here.
Happy birthday, Brooklyn. Hope you're having a good day.
So Scotty heard a lot of talk on starting plants immersed, doing it to truly identify certain plants such as crypts.
I just don't care.
Yeah, like I've got 20, 30 different crypts in the tank behind me, and
Yeah.
if they don't look distinct enough, then they're not worthy of me taking the time to tell you what they are. Because
And also, like, I am not here to identify your immersed crypts because, like, I don't have expertise in that because I can kind of see how the scenario is going to grow. You're going to grow crypts immersed, then you'll be like, what is this plant? What is this plant? What is this plant? And, like, I don't know. So I don't know how, Scotty, like, you don't have much room in your apartment. Is that really where you want to go in life? I mean, I know you want hat points, but like, don't
are
just get
crypts the way to do it?
just don't get hat points for the sake of hat points. Like, I know there are people who are really into scoring points. That's a really
Isn't
good
there
card
so
to
many ways
have.
to kind of game the system with that though?
So
Because
many. Well, every club has different rules, and some clubs are more gameable than others.
yeah, I
But
don't know
like,
anything about his.
grow things because you want to grow them. I mean,
Life's too short.
it's too short.
Tanks are too
And
small.
you have minimum budget and you have minimum space.
And
But
don't all
how you
crypts
do
kind
it,
of look the same? I thought
their
you have
flowers
to.
are not that attractive.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Like,
Like, don't
of
you
the
have
things
to
that you
get them to
could, if
flower?
you're, yeah, so what you do is you get yourself, like, some plastic boxes, and you could put any kind of medium in the bottom. You could use, like, terrarium medium, you could use aqua soil, and it has to be damp, damp, damp. And then the plastic sweater boxes are clear, and you just snap them shut, and you put a grow light on them. And it takes a lot of space. It doesn't take a lot of money. But if you're gonna go down the road of growing plants that way, you could grow terrarium plants, which are so much more beautiful.
Yeah.
Crypts have really kind of ugly flowers.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
I've only had one crypt flower because I don't grow them immersed. Like, so my rose and
mhm,
maiden flowers, like it's flowered in every tank I've grown it in now. And
yeah.
it's cool the first time, and then it's like,
Yeah.
well,
And
I
then
guess
you're
this
like,
thing just
well,
likes to flower, and I'm not doing anything special, just having it flower.
yeah. I mean, it's just kind of, there's cooler things you can grow if you're going to start growing things that way. I did have
So
a
he's
friend who,
curious. He doesn't think he has room for it. Just wanted to learn
no,
more
I don't
about it.
think you do because it does take a fair amount of room. I mean, you would need a shelf and a grow light and like plastic containers. I don't know. I did have a friend who did it. She was very passionate about crypts and she wanted to see them in their entire life cycle. But I don't know. I was just like, well, okay.
Well, this tank is teaching me which crypts I give a shit about and which ones I don't. Like, oh, I can distinguish this one from that one, and so I guess I'll keep those. Oh, these look just like Wind TI. I have like 14 different crypts that are just Wind TI of different shades,
Yeah.
and no thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do like crypts. I just have to find the ones I want to keep because yeah, they get unruly, get out of
Yeah.
control. So let's see. Cora was, do you want to, yeah, do you want help figuring out how to DIY your own wall? Because they make tiered fence planter type things that wouldn't be hard to plumb.
Well, that would be interesting.
Now, those aren't the ones that are made of felt, right? Because I would need, if I'm going to put it on the wall,
Yeah.
obviously it needs to be
Yeah. Well, you
fairly
don't want
waterproof.
that. I mean, these are tiered and they have little pockets where of media, leca, where it
Mhm.
can flow from one to the next. What I have thought about getting to put it between these two tanks, or they make hydroponic towers, and I think I could pretty easily plumb the hydroponics from like my 90 and circulate it back without too much pain. That's a thing I
Gotcha.
might do because those towers, they're a little bit more robust systems, I think.
And I've got 3 windows. I might as well use the natural light in there for something too.
Yeah, I mean, I still need supplemental light on these because this is a north facing window and there's a garage on the other
Mm.
side of it, so it gets very poor light. But plant lights are so cheap. They're so much cheaper than aquarium lights because you just don't need a lot of power because you're not trying to get through light. I mean, you could get plant lights for like 20 bucks.
Dollar Tree has knockoff Mr. Stacky planters.
I'll have to look
Never
into
heard of
that.
Mr. Stacky.
I mean, I don't have space above any of my other tanks because of where the windows are to do another hydroponic wall. I really love the one I have. I think it's really cool. I just don't, I mean, it was just a pain in the ass. But those hydroponic towers are pretty cool, and I could do one between these two tanks, maybe. I don't know.
Well, yeah. So if you had to do it again, would you get the same shit, or would you go and find, knowing that you would have to pretty much DIY the whole thing regardless?
I just wouldn't do it. I just would do a different project. I mean, there's other things I want to do. I would get another Owaza Biorb. I mean, God, that
Gotcha.
thing has been, and that thing was a lot of money, but it was 100% plug and play. Everything just worked. I assembled it in 10 minutes. It was just easy, and it looked
Hmm.
awesome. And like every single one of the African violets are about to bloom. They're all in bud. So
Nice.
it's doing really, really well. But so I would do another one of those. I may do another one of those. Yeah, so I just don't think I'd do another one again. I really like using the apothecary baskets, or you could DIY
Mhm.
something similar.
I have a few of those. I
Um,
like those.
yeah, and I think they're great, and I think they're a great way to grow immersed plants out of your tanks. I moved some of my begonias from outside inside. They're not doing super great. I think they might need. I mean, begonias don't need a lot of light, but they might need some. But I've had a lot of plants do really well, and that's been a lot of fun. So I would recommend that. If you don't want to DIY anything, you can use the apothecary. If you want to DIY something, I think that you could rig something up with like a little plastic basket, some wire. I mean, I think
Have
they're
those apothecaries come down in price? I remember them being a little bit pricey for what you get.
they're kind of
They
pricey,
don't
but
hold a lot.
they're 3D printed. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, they hold an appropriate amount. You can still grow pretty big plants out of them just because, they don't have to worry about water, right? Because they're hydroponically grown and
Mhm.
I give them plenty of nutrients. So, because I add lots of nutrients. So, I would recommend those. I think they're really easy and they're really fun.
Yeah.
The
Luke
hydroponic
said
wall,
he
I don't recommend
well, I don't know. I kind of feel like the fish room needs something like that. I was going to do shelves above like the mosh pit
it.
and the
Mm,
20 for live food cultures, but I let my Grindelworm cultures crash and I'm thinking like I don't need them. If I'm going to do live food, I will just hatch baby brine. I think my vinegar eels crashed because I had no use for them all this time.
yeah.
So vinegar eels, I could do those again because I just got to keep them. Like I kept them almost 2 years in the same bottle, doing nothing to them. So yeah,
Yeah.
obviously they're gonna eventually go foul.
I haven't done baby brine in a while,
It's
but
been a few months for
it's
me.
really easy to get going. I mean, I have the Ziz Hatcher. I don't think you need the Ziz Hatcher. I think
No, but I really like it.
but
It
I
makes
do like
things.
it. I mean, because it does make it really easy.
Yeah,
So I
like
do
I
like
first the thing you do is that stand, just throw it in the trash, and then get a 1 inch piece of PVC pipe, stick that to your wall with screw or nail or something, and then just hang the handle on the wall. And
I
then
understand. I mean,
well,
I
you have
understand.
smaller hands than I
I
do,
do. I have really tiny hands. You can't tell from when I hold them that way. But no, my hands are really kind of surprising for someone my height. I have no trouble fitting it into there.
but I do like that because it's got the heater hole, and I have
Yeah,
like this
yeah,
USB heater that I got like 10 or
yeah, and
20
that little
bucks.
heater works so good, and you
It's
bought that
perfect.
for me, and it works awesome. And now that I mean, now I kind of know how to do it. I have it set at the temperature you told me to, which I can't remember what it is, so don't ask. It's like 70.
I set
It's
my
pretty
baby
warm.
brine whenever I do it, I'm not waiting around for it. I set mine to 85 degrees and I'm like,
Yeah,
you're gonna
yeah,
hatch in 18 hours
they
because I ain't
do.
got
I
time.
mean, yeah, it's
The
nice. I set them up before bed, and then the next day I can feed my fish. It's really great. But
Coro sent me some links for I guess for the hydroponic stuff on Discord. Appreciate it, Coro.
yeah, I mean, because I do love the way it looks, and I wish I could recommend it, but
And speaking
I
of plumbing DIY things, the other thing I need to think about is getting that RO unit set up. And
right.
I want it hooked up to the garden hose. I want like a trash can. And I've just never done that before. So like I don't know what to put on the outside of the trash can as like an inlet and an outlet. And then I kind of want that like coming up to a window with a quick connect for the Python so that and like maybe some kind of valve, a float valve, so it turns off when it's full. I just have to like think through all that. Maybe somebody can send me a part list for that too. Save me the save me the time.
Yeah.
And then I forget Berkeley's husband, Josh, is a licensed plumber. He
That's
kind of does
right.
that for a living.
Well,
So
and so that means, like, he just has a bunch of those fittings.
yeah,
It's
and
like
he'll
you can
he'll
go
know off the
shopping at
top of my
Josh's
head the things
house.
that I need. I'm thinking like I need a thing that does this if I do this, and he'll have a name for it, which will help a lot.
Right. Like, I have done plumbing. Oh, I haven't done any plumbing, let's face it. I don't do anything. But, like, Jake and I have gone to get fittings, like, at the hardware store or something, and I don't know, it's just a pain in the ass. Apparently, Jake's dad was really good at that sort of thing. I mean, he was a farmer. He had to fix everything.
Yeah.
But I don't Jake is good at DIY, but he hates it. And I hate it and suck at it. I mean, and he'll do it for me, and he
I
won't
only
complain
hate
about
it whenever I am forced into it and I wasn't planning on it, and like
it.
I just
Right.
wanted a thing to work. So like if I bought that hydroponic wall with the goal of it just working out of the box,
Right.
I'd be pissed if I had to do
Right.
those
And I
mods
didn't
to it.
spend I mean, because it was imported. I think
Mhm.
shipped it was what, like 140 bucks? Okay.
I mean, that's a lot to have to throw away half of it.
Right, but 140 bucks, I was like, "Okay, that's not bad for a light and a pump and a wall, and it came with Leica.
Yeah.
Okay." But then I probably spent another 100 bucks getting it to work,
Yeah,
and
that's
that's
annoying.
where it annoys me.
Mhm.
Whereas, like, the Owaza Biorb, it was a lot of money, and I can't recommend it because it was so much money, but it did just work. So, Oinky asks, "Have you seen the Aqua Natural glitter rocks from PetSmart? It's mica rich quartz available in rose, pink, and gray. Could you use glitter stones in your aquascaping arsenal?" I've seen those before. I think they're really hard to work into an aquascape, but that doesn't mean that you couldn't work them into your aquascape. I think
I
it
don't know
could.
what kind of rocks there were in Dallas for the aquascaping contest that were very glittery, and like we actually broke a few with the hammer and tried to like wash them off, and whatever kind of glitter or metal was like getting embedded in my freaking hand as I was handling those
Uh,
rocks, which I'm like, well, hopefully that's not like permanently absorbed in my skin. Whatever the hell that was.
yeah, I mean, maybe they would go better in a terrarium than an aquarium. I think they'd be really difficult to use. That's not to say, though, that you wouldn't like them in your tank. Everybody has their own tastes. I think
Yeah,
I
I
kind of
mean,
like more nature style aquariums, and I think they're hard to work into that.
I guess you can make it work if you had to. Like I do like nature style, but like I wouldn't mind doing something completely off the
Right.
wall that made it
Yeah.
still work.
I think they would look really cool in like Dee Dee's Christmas tree tanks that she does, her
Oh, I
Christmas.
do have a little Rudolph ornament coming from Gina, I think today or sometime this week that I
Oh,
won on her channel.
that's cool. And so I think that, people have different aesthetics and different tastes. And like I'm more into doing like cutesy terrariums that maybe have little like figures and animals in them, and I think they would go okay in
Mhm.
that. But I'm not into that in aquariums, but it's okay if you are because everybody likes different things and it's awesome. So,
Coral's asking if I have a rain barrel yet. I don't know if anyone around here has a rain
yeah,
barrel. Usually we
my
have
sister
unlimited
has
water. Like,
yeah, my sister has a rain barrel. So rain barrels, first of all, are illegal in certain places. Check your laws. So, for instance, in
mm,
Colorado, there are downstream rights to water. And like in places where water is rationed, desert climates, there are downstream rights to water. And so you as an upstream person are stealing water from the downstream person, even though it's one barrel full of water that's going to run off into the sewer. So check your local laws. However, if you live in some place like the Midwest or where Steven lives, rain barrels are legal. My sister uses them because she's very crunchy and she likes to recycle things. Um, I don't know that I would use it in an aquarium because if you think about the runoff from your roof. I mean, it's taking garbage from your roof.
Well,
And
he's talking about like
debris.
using the for the RO, like using it to like fill it with wastewater from the RO unit and just general purpose water,
I mean,
which
you could do that. You live in a place though, like this year notwithstanding, it's just rained.
right.
Yeah.
I've never had to go, like my brain has never had to go to the water conservation place of like where can I save up water and store it and collect it. And yeah, it's different down here, but hell, I mean with the drought from this year, that was unusual.
Yeah, and it's not like the Midwest doesn't have droughts. However, we also, I mean, it rains here with climate change. Who's to say that that will always be true? I hope
Mhm.
so. I hope it always rains here. It may get rainier. Who knows? Um, we are more prone to floods than droughts. When I was a kid, there were some really bad drought years in Iowa. So it's not something we really think about a lot. So for instance, like in all of Iowa and all of Indiana too, there's no irrigation for crops. So like when people talk about, they always cite like, "Oh my god, do you know how many gallons of water a day a corn plant uses?" Well, who cares? Like
It's rain. Yeah.
corn has its own problems. So like if you're going to indict it, it's got its own problems, but water usage is not really one because it rains here.
Let's talk about how evil corn is then.
Well, I mean, we need Jake here to defend corn because like, he has a corn farm. I mean, corn monoculture in general has its problems. Let's just say
Yeah.
that. But
But
water
his
usage
farm
in the
rotates,
middle.
right? Like it.
Yeah, they do a full rotation between corn and soybeans, which is good for the environment and better for the soil. Um, but it's still monoculture. I mean, because it's all one culture every year. So, I mean, corn has its problems, but it does rain here, and there's no even option for irrigation for corn. I mean, nobody has their lines plumbed in for irrigation, even though we are on like the Midwest is above one the biggest groundwater lake in the world. Iowa is because it rains here.
Mhm.
So, yeah, Nancy B says corn is delicious. I will defend it. Amen, sister. So,
So Oinky says, I'm glad I asked first. I confess I was planning to order the glitter rocks for you both, but I hesitated.
oh,
Just looking at them in the bag, I can see they might be difficult to work with.
Oinky,
Well,
you're so sweet.
if you sent me glitter rocks, if they were from you, I would absolutely find a use for them.
If you sent me them, I would put them in a special Oinky terrarium, and I would put little pig figurines in there. And Jake would love it because he loves tiny pigs. Jake loves pigs. He's pro pig. So, but I don't know what we were talking about. Rain barrels. Yeah,
Rain barrels, yeah.
my sister has one. She waters her garden with it. So Zenny says, "Wait, well, popcorn is how she survived Weight Watchers. Couldn't live without corn." I do like popcorn. I love popcorn
Yeah. I enjoy popcorn for the quantity of crunchy things I can shove in my face.
with so little calories because I
Mhm.
like air popped popcorn. I don't like movie theater popcorn, which is, I mean, usually I like the higher fat thing. Let's face it. But I grew up on air popped popcorn, so
I
yeah.
just like as long as it's salty, I'm good. It doesn't have
But
to
not
be
too
coated with
salted. Like if
fake
it's so
butter.
salted, like it hurts your mouth. That's yeah.
Jenna has like a legit allergy to whatever the hell is in movie theater butter. Like it will swell up her lips and her
Oh,
mouth.
wow, that sucks. I just think movie theater popcorn smells great and tastes gross. But, I didn't go to that many movies as a kid, and my parents were like, "We're not spending money on snacks. You get the movie and that's it." So,
Oh, well, we would go before we go to a movie, we'd go to the like a gas station or something, get the candy there, get our canned soda, bring
mm.
that in the theater. Then the sound of opening the canned soda was like the obvious sound of we didn't get our drinks from here. Nobody seemed to care though.
Yeah. I don't I don't want to drink during a movie because then you have to pee and then you miss part of the movie. And I don't know, I just don't need to eat during a movie. So when I go to movies, I don't get anything.
Holy shit, Nabokov fan 87. Deepest
Oh
apologies.
God.
Cleaning plus chemical burns equals delay to the stream.
Oh my God.
Hopefully not too bad. What kind of
Be
chemical burns are we
careful.
talking about?
Oh God. You're cleaning your house. Oh no.
Let's see. Got some new amazing plants I've never kept before. I looked at vids on YouTube and giggled a bit at how people pronounce the word Apanagitan.
I
I
mean,
say
I say
Apanagitan. I don't know if that's
Apanagitan. I don't know. But I don't know if that
Apanagitan.
I don't know that it's right to say Apanagitan, but I say Apanagitan. I don't know that it's right.
I don't know either.
Yeah. So Zenny likes to drown her popcorn in, or she likes movie theater popcorn, but not when losing weight. Yeah, no one's getting thin off movie theater popcorn. But she still uses butter and salt. I still put some butter and salt on my popcorn too. I don't have
Growing
it
up,
like completely dry. I just don't like drown it. I use like
so
little butter.
my brothers would pop popcorn and then they would get a bunch of it's hard to even like say it without feeling nauseated, but they would get margarine and they would melt it and they would pour the melted margarine over the popcorn and then the popcorn would get all soggy and shrink. And it's just, I don't understand how they enjoyed anything about that, but
I mean,
that
I
was their
guess we
thing.
used margarine as a kid, but we still didn't put that much on there.
No,
It was the 80s. Everybody used margarine. I only had one friend who was a real butter household, and I was like, oh, wow, use real
just the kind where you get out the baking soda
butter. Oh,
just to
well,
neutralize it.
yeah, that's not so bad, but it kind of can bother your skin. Can bother your skin. Yeah.
Upon Gaetan, upon a Gitan.
Yeah, people Ponjaton. People do say different ways, and I don't really know that one's right or wrong. Rachel asks, there's a green line forming in my substrate. Oh, it is blue-green algae. Pseudose liquid ferts. So the easy way to get rid of blue-green algae is to treat it with erythromycin. I can't remember who makes erythromycin, but you can
Marison,
buy Marison.
API,
Yeah.
either one.
Or I've seen Green Aqua do this, especially at the substrate. They'll take a syringe with a needle with peroxide in it, and they'll just inject it down by the substrate and kill it that way. And that does work. I mean, especially because in Europe, I believe that antibiotics for fish are illegal. I know that is also true in Canada. So,
Hmm.
so those are your options. One way you can confirm that for sure is pull out a little bit of it if it stinks, like a stinky pond, like a stagnant pond. That's blue-green algae. Regular algae doesn't really smell like anything bad. Might just smell a little green. But blue-green algae stinks like a stagnant pond. So,
Yeah.
but that's probably what it is.
When I get like, when I've only dealt with it a couple of times, but when I have to get rid of it, I will remove as much of it as I can because killing it will, it's just like dead matter in your tank that you don't really want. And then it's one, not even a full course of antibiotics. It's one dose, one treatment, one day, and just let it sit for a few days, and it
So
dies
it's
off.
done. Yeah, I haven't. Have I had? When's the last time I even had blue-green algae? I don't know. I will say that every substrate does develop some stratification of colors in it, and that's just natural bacteria, nitrifying and denitrifying bacteria, and aerobic and anaerobic bacteria that stratifies. But if you see something that's like green slime at the substrate,
Mhm.
green algae probably.
I mean, I have a few deep sand beds that get very colorful
They do,
underneath.
and
I don't mess with it though
some
because
of
it's
them
not
get
hurting anything.
purple bands. That's purple
Mhm.
sulfur bacteria, which is a reducing bacteria. Kind of cool. So they do get different communities of bacteria. So Ryan, oh, Scotty says, I know you won't be able to see my stream, but please send Kelly over. She will be so happy. Did you take your plants out of pot, Steven?
Me? What?
Or I mean, Steven, sorry, Scotty, did you take
My
your plants
plants.
out of pot?
My plants have not been in
They're
pots.
not in pots unless you haven't planted them yet, which
We'll be
haven't.
able to see the stream though. We were like Zachary had a musical performance thing, Christmas thing going on at school, but he's kind of not feeling well, so
Oh,
we're not gonna force him to do that.
I usually miss Scotty's stream because I always talk to Jake after this stream because we have to talk on the phone for like an hour.
So we
we have
will.
stuff to talk about.
Daniel had a CO2 disaster this past weekend. My first try at CO2 ran well for a week. Saturday tank has green water, drop checker yellow, lost most fish. Don't know if regulator failed.
I'm so sorry, Daniel. It might have. You might have had it just set too high. It's hard for me to know. I don't know what kind of regulator you have. It really sucks.
Yeah.
Sorry. If a regulator is going well though for a period of time and you don't have an explanation for it doing that, your regulator probably failed and I wouldn't trust it again. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, the green water though. I've never had
Well, if all your fish died, there might be a bunch of ammonia.
could be. I don't know. That's what kind of regulator? I'm behind in chat, so
I
done.
have had green water while on CO2. And it just, I just turned off the lights and it went away. If you're really like trying to get rid of green water, you can throw like a bed sheet over your tank. Blackouts work.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
A couple of weeks, I think, of that.
So Coro asks, is there anything wrong with cyano? Like if it's in your substrate or in your filter, something doesn't matter. Is it going to hurt your fish? I would say no. But that's one that like can like all of a sudden just all of it die and then
I
it'll
think that's
rot.
the problem is that it just like
Yeah.
it becomes a lot of decaying matter.
Yeah. And so like other algae are really not a problem because I don't see that happening. But blue-green algae does kind of like all of a sudden do a big die-off, and then it is a problem because then you have just a bunch of decay. It is stinky, and your partner may not appreciate your stinky aquarium. It's kind of unsightly, but I would try to get rid of it because
I don't think anything eats it, right?
no, because it stinks and it's gross.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything eat it. So Nabokov fan says on the bulbs for those things, so the Aponogetans, they have roots on the bottom and the plants are drunk because the stems leaves keep coming out of the bottom. Research about it, if that's normal, left me with, is there a part 2?
There's almost no helpful or very good information, very good videos on bulb plants.
Let's flip
Especially,
them. Let's flip them.
yeah,
Flip them the
like
other way.
that's happened to me too
They're
before.
just
Like,
upside down. Yeah, and that happens.
So what is a betta plant? Is that just like it's just a random bulb that might sprout something? Like they don't really.
I think they're usually Aponogetans.
They're not a specific species, are they?
I don't know. I mean, I probably not. Yeah. Yeah, Geek Boy asked if he has a bubble counter on there. That's good. I like the bubble counter because it's a good visual representation. Like if you look down and like things are just hammering away and you don't expect them to, or conversely, as has happened to me, oh, they're off. Oh, that's not good either. Yeah.
Clashy in the house. We posted some giveaways today. All right, go check out Keystone Clash.
All right. Yeah,
giving away tickets.
I had a lot of fun at the Keystone Clash. Steven has gone twice. I had fun both times. We are pro Clash.
Looking forward to it next year too.
Yeah. Rachel has erythromycin. Good. So PNW Aqua says not to put peroxide in tanks that have bottom dwelling fish. I've never had a problem with that. You just have to make sure you mix it. And how much peroxide are you putting in? Like, all I do is I take it in a syringe and I spot treat, and I don't think it's a problem. I mean, you can add quite a bit of it and it's not a problem. I think that that's a myth. However, if you don't want to do it, that's fine. We all have our own personal voodoo, but
Mhm.
I don't think it's a problem. So,
Let's see. Got a $3 super chat from Austin. Thank you so much. And I saw that he is scheduled to go in 15 minutes.
yeah.
So let's see. The CO2. Wait, where was I? Used inline diffuser and bubble counter was about 2 bubbles per second.
I think.
What size tank was this?
And what's your KH like, Daniel? Is your water real soft? Because like 2 bubbles per second for me,
Yeah,
not
or like was it two
yeah,
bubbles per second and then it did some kind of end of tank dump, or just the needle
yeah,
valve wasn't reliable? Like,
yeah. And the thing is this though, is if your CO2 is set and stable and it's too high, you know right away. You know within, well, depending on the size of your tank, even for a 90, you know within a couple hours that, oh my God, I need to turn it down. But if something changes after a week, it failed. Ugh, CO2
CO2
art.
art.
God.
What is going on with this thing then?
Do
Because
you
yeah,
think that maybe you could have bumped it? Do you
that's what
have it?
happened with mine. Because
And
that
that
needle
happened to
valve
Brooklyn?
is good, and if unless you move it,
Yeah. That happened to Brooklyn too, because Thor bumped hers.
yeah, kitchen
It
fire will
can,
do that.
can happen. Yeah. And Mickham confirms that lots of older meds are banned here in Europe today. Yeah, I've heard that too. That
Uh-huh.
like, and in Canada also, you don't have a lot of recourse for treating your fish beyond like salt. So,
Yeah.
so Nabokov fan says, so if I went the route of let the roots to determine the orientation of the bulb, is that incorrect? And the leaves do it? So roots are gravitotropic, so they will grow down. They have actually little, it's really cool. In the tips of the growing tips of the root hairs, they have little particles of iron and they can sense down. So they will grow down. Um,
So
and so that
then if you
that
see the
that
leaves coming out,
orientation.
just let the leaf, yeah, just turn it
Yeah,
over.
and the shoots will grow toward the light. See,
Yeah, like I've
before
had
you
them
did
come
that,
out the
but
side of a bulb, how I had it oriented, and
I
they curve
usually
around
just,
and come up. But
yeah, they kind of right themselves, but you can also just flip them. But that's how it happens. Roots grow down and shoots grow toward light.
yeah.
So Rachel says
Um,
that's her first time with blue green algae. Yeah, I mean, and it's a thing that can happen to all of us. I've had it.
yeah. I don't even like when I've got it. It wasn't even a particularly dirty tank. Like, in fact, I think it was a new tank, fairly new tank. It only been up for a few months. There wasn't a whole lot going on in it, and just randomly blue green algae
Yeah,
broke out. It didn't get too bad because it was a small tank. I saw it immediately and took care of it, but I
yeah.
couldn't pinpoint the cause of it.
I haven't had that one a long, long time, and so I did use, I think it was Marison at the time.
Yeah, and I
Or
know it's
no,
like,
no, I didn't use Marison. I stole erythromycin from the lab
uh,
and used that. So he's
and I
like,
mean, it's probably
"Reuse
not
and
like
grade antibiotics."
the best thing to just immediately go for antibiotics and putting them in the tank.
No, it's
In the
probably
same
not.
way, like if you got ick, is it really better to go get ick versus like turn up the heat and all that? It's just God, it works so reliably
It does work.
100% and doesn't kill the fish. So I'm just it's hard for me to not do it that way, even if it's
Yeah,
technically chemicals and bad and could cause something else
I
down the
mean,
line.
antibiotic resistance is a problem. I'm a microbiologist, I can tell you that.
Mhm.
However, you using it on your fish tank to clear blue-green algae, I mean, if you really wanna do something about antibiotic resistance in this world, you will eat antibiotic-free meat or just not eat meat. I mean, really, that's what you should do. If
That's
you
never gonna
really think,
happen.
yeah.
So
So, I mean, your fish tank usage, well, you could eat less meat, right? You
no,
don't have to eat meat every meal.
I do.
You don't. I don't really eat
No
meat every,
deal.
I don't eat meat during the week, really. So, but
Mm.
anyways, yeah. So your fish tank usage, it's just not. Yeah. Thorn trap. There's a new name.
I've
Hello,
seen thorn
thorn trap.
trap around.
Okay.
The first fish I kept, would it be considered keeping it if it didn't even last 24 hours because I didn't know what the chlorinator was when I got a goldfish at the carnival and put it in a bowl, and it was under such horrible conditions in this chlorinated water that it
God.
jumped out of the bowl.
Wow.
The first fish that I probably kept for longer than that, I think it was like a black molly or
Yeah. Yeah.
something. Then getting back into the hobby and doing it the right way in the last 4 years. First fish we got was Maculakai and some bronze cories and Maculakai rainbow fish were the first inhabitants of the first tank in this house.
Yeah. We Well, for me, I kept fish as a kid in the 80s, and we had community fish. We had like neon tetras and cardinal tetras and different cories, and we had mollies and swordtails and angels. So really just community fish.
Mm.
I've never had a guppy. Um,
Have you ever had a live bear at all? Oh, you said mollies. Yeah.
yeah, we didn't breed them though. I mean, I don't know. They didn't breed. Mollies in the 80s were not real durable. They didn't really like to live. And I didn't really know why because I was like 8. So, yeah, I've never really been into live bears. So,
Mm.
yeah. I have
Ryan
a
saying that
goldfish though.
you had a goldfish. Yeah, gold. You still have the goldfish outside.
Yeah, yeah, and they're happy and healthy. They've lived for years. Crackdown on meds is underway in the US too. The FDA has been stopping some larger online sellers like Chewy. Good to know. Good to know.
Crap.
And that's just a good lesson to be responsible with antibiotics so you can still use them.
So would you
Um,
recommend people start stocking up on Maris? I mean, how long? It only lasts a
it
couple of
will
years
last
though before it.
well. Okay. So it says it only lasts a couple years. However, I have used some really fucking old antibiotics in the lab and they still work.
Does it
So,
lose some potency or like what goes bad in it? I mean, it's kind of like I have expired ibuprofen that still works fine.
well, yeah.
It's
I
just
mean, I would say that in general, dry medicines and dry compounds keep very, very long time unless you're keeping them in a hot, moist place. If you keep them in a cool, dry place, they last a little longer, like a room temperature, cool environment. I wouldn't put them in your fridge or freezer necessarily,
we
but
got this is Professor Fish Tanks. It's I think his name is Usama,
Surma, yeah, Surma,
and
Usama,
he
yeah.
runs Atlantic Aquariums. He did
All
his first
right.
live stream yesterday, I think.
I know, and I missed it. I'm sorry. I wasn't home. But you can get aquatic medications without vet prescription. I didn't know that. I thought you had to have a vet prescription.
In Canada, oh, he said you can't get
Oh, you
aquatic
can.
medications without.
That's what
Yeah,
I.
I
That's what
thought
I had heard.
so. Like, I don't even
Also,
think you can get ICX. Like, you can't get
yeah. And if I were
just
to go to my vet and I said, like, hey, I have this fish and I'm an experienced fish keeper and I know this is happening, I don't know if they would give you that. I don't know if they can legally or ethically prescribe anything without seeing a patient.
right. What would they charge you to look at your guppy?
But
Like, I got this sick
could they
mosh
do
pit. Okay, can
could
you
they
bring
do
all
a tele
500 fish in?
well, could they do a telehealth appointment? I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, but realistically, I have heard of people bringing like a beloved fish to the vet. Like if you have a really special like blood parrot, I don't know,
Yeah,
like
well,
kind of a wet pet
or
or an Oscar
what about when the
or a
co-op
goldfish.
before they what was the name of their first one? Hank, I think. Their
Yeah, I think it
Mabu
was Hank is
puffer.
Mabu Puffer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
so
brought in obviously brought in a
that's a
specialist for
wet
that.
that's a wet pet. Yeah, for a wet pet, I'm sure. Maybe you would. It's hard to find a vet. Like my vet won't even work on rabbits. Like it's. If you have a cat or a dog, it's easy. If you have anything else, I don't know, unless you have like a large animal, like a farm animal, and you
I mean,
live in a
around here,
southern
it's
place.
common enough that people have horses and cows and
Yeah,
stuff.
and same here too. And we have a really big vet school in Purdue, like a ranked nationwide vet school. So, but yeah, for treating a fish, it's really hard to find a vet
Yeah, unfortunately.
with expertise. I don't know. I just feel like it's really hard to be a vet. There's so many animals and they are not all the same.
Yep.
And it
Because
can't your patients can't talk.
like I don't think they're like what transfers from fish medicine over to anything else.
So they do have immune systems, but their immune systems are not as well developed as we do. They don't have the levels of immunity that we do. They have some, I mean, because they're vertebrates like us, but it's pretty different. I mean, antibiotics do work like the same mechanism, but they're absorbed differently. Putting things in the water column is a problem because it can deactivate things. It can,
don't really get an exact dosage. Which you don't really get an
yeah,
exact
dosage is
dosage if you're
hard.
feeding a tank either. Because
Right. Well, then you
what?
really don't. I mean, you do get at least a known dosage in the water column because you know the concentration you're adding. Whereas, like medicated flakes, how many flakes is a fish going to eat? Is the right fish going to eat it? Is it going to eat all of them? You don't know.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think it's hard. Yeah.
Coro said rabbits are an exotic animal. Yeah, most vets spend one lecture on exotic animals, everything
Yeah.
from rabbits to fish to lizards to birds and sugar gliders. And it's just,
Yeah. I mean, just
uh,
like finding out like what flea preventative to use on a rabbit because you want to treat every furry creature in your house and they don't know because none of them are tested on rabbits.
mm.
So it's and there are some flea preventatives that I am horribly, horribly allergic to. Synthetic pyrethroids,
Is those like the ones that the non-pill ones, the one that you put on
the
the like
topicals,
on the
yeah. So,
yeah.
but there are no pill ones for cats, at least that I know of. And getting a cat to take a pill is not easy. But
Oh,
I mean, there are some synthetic pyrethroids that they make it feel like my whole face goes numb and it feels like
ew,
someone took a shovel and hit my face. And it
yikes.
will stay numb like that for days. So I really can't use them. They're horrible. So
So
I
like,
have over
do you
that
know which
too.
ones? Like Frontline, I think is the big one.
Yeah, Frontline Plus is that one is okay. I don't know. The one I'm getting from my vet now seems to be okay. I can't
The
remember what it
Australian
is.
vet course of action is use the toilet, flush them. I mean, they've
Yeah,
got no other. I mean, if they don't know, if like they don't know the first thing about treating a fish,
yeah. I mean, I think that if you live in a place with no fish meds, it makes you like I would think it would make you a really cautious fish keeper. Like you would really quarantine.
and then
You would
also not get too
really
attached.
oh god, that sucks.
Yeah.
We love our fish. So Ryan says I've killed clown loaches twice from small amounts of peroxide. The first time I didn't blame the peroxide. The second time I felt like an idiot. Yeah, I've never heard of that happening. It still doesn't really make sense to me because
The peroxide
peroxide
is
decays.
deactivates so
It
quickly.
decays
Like,
so quickly, and the products are water and oxygen. So I'm not telling you necessarily that you're wrong, but it doesn't make sense to me. And I know that like you can pour like a whole bottle of peroxide in a tank and your fish will be fine. In fact, that some people use it as an emergency oxygenation method. So I
not bad
certainly
enough.
wouldn't worry about it with small amounts in a syringe. But I don't know. I really love clown loaches and I wouldn't want to hurt my clown loaches either. So, I get that.
And Berkeley's going ice skating. Good luck. Don't hurt yourself.
Oh, have fun. Is ice skating really a thing in Louisiana? I mean,
Today I learned you
yeah,
can
it
go
works.
ice skating apparently here. I guess
Who
somewhere you
knew?
can go do that.
I've ice skated before. All right. I mean, I'm not great.
Let's see. Did you
Zenny says she
use
bought the giant tub of EM erythromycin like 2 years ago, but she's kind of scared to throw it away. I think you could still use it. That's a lot of erythromycin to go through, but I think you could still use it.
the River Center? Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
Geek Boy mentioned something that is also very important, and it's very important for environmental reasons, that algae die-off can also consume much of the oxygen in the water from rotting. And that's how many of the fish die-offs in Lake Okeechobee happen. And that is very true.
Mm.
So the eutrophication of lakes is a big problem. So clean lakes are oligotrophic, they're clear, they're very high in oxygen, fish are very happy. When the nutrient level is really low, when there's too much farm runoff, nitrates and phosphates get into the water column and it causes the algae to bloom. The algae chokes off the light, and then all of that algae dies, and then it rots, and then the water becomes anoxic, and fish die.
And that can happen with invasive plants too, in the right
Mhm,
conditions, and then
mhm.
they all die off at the same time. It's the
Yep.
same kind of issue.
Yeah, it's called eutrophication of lakes, and it's a big problem. So, for instance, the Midwest, all the rivers used to be clear, which is crazy to me because rivers are not clear up here. They're muddy and they're silty from farm runoff. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And Austin, I believe, has started.
All right. Well,
So
everyone,
somebody dropped the link.
Merry Christmas to everyone. I will not be here
Yeah,
next
yeah.
week.
No stream next week.
No stream next week. We have family things to do. But the week after, we'll be back.
Yeah, the week after. That'll be the first. You have anything going on New
Oh
Year's Day?
wait, no, the first, no, we won't be here because Jake and I are. I mean, we have very important TV watching to do.
All right, so we're probably gonna be taking a 2 week hiatus.
Yeah, and
So
then
this
we'll
is the
be
last
back
one of the year.
a couple weeks after that, and then I'm going to Panama for a week. So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
awesome.
over Martin Luther King Day that week, I'm going to
All
Panama.
right. So yeah,
Oh,
thank you to our mods
yeah,
and lurkers and chatters, super chatters members, and all you fine
a
replay
replay.
crew. Apologies that the topic was not what we said it was going to be, but I'll
You
probably
never
change.
know what you'll
I'll
get.
change the thumbnail and I'll change the the title if I remember.
So you could change. You know what? I'll send you a picture of Fat Kitty in his Christmas, of me and Fat Kitty in their, or I have a picture of Fat Kitty in his Christmas suit. You can
Perfect.
make that fun thumbnail.
That'll do. Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, see y'all later.
Bye, everyone. Happy
Bye.
holidays.